Hey guys, Henry Kaminski here from Passionpreneur.net, and this is episode number 20 of the Passionpreneur video podcast. And I have a special guest today that puts the P in passion. And he goes by the name of Daryl Daniels, and he has a phenomenal online fitness program that he introduced to me not too long ago, and I was floored by what he put together. And what really intrigued me about Daryl was his backstory. And you know I'm huge on backstories, and he has quite the inspiring one. And so without further ado, I want to introduce Daryl to the community, and I also want to give Daryl an opportunity to tell the same story he told me, because that's how he landed a spot on this show. And so Daryl, without further ado, introduce everybody and to yourself, and tell us that story.
All right. Well, Henry, again, man, thank you very much for having me on the show. It's an honor to be in the group and have the opportunity to share with everyone. So, thank you so much for what you do. Again, Daryl Daniels, you guys, any of you get to know me, you call me D, man. That's what I go by. So anyway, so I'm 59 years old. I've been in the fitness industry for 30 years. I mean, half of my entire life I've been in the fitness industry. And kind of started out, man, I was a skinny kid. I mean, let me put it this way. When I was 21 years old, I weighed 118 pounds. So, yeah, I was skinny. I mean, we're talking, I was 118 pounds on Thanksgiving after I ate all day and went outside in the rain and got wet. So I was a skinny kid, but always athletic, never able to really put that weight on. And also as a kid, I was just enamored with Hercules. Man, I thought like Hercules was it. I used to stand in the doorways of my house, like pushing the doors apart. And my dad would come by. I'll never forget. He'd always walk by. He'd be like, "Son, you just go mess your pants up if you keep doing that." So, but that was my gig. And then, in my very early 20s, I just got in my head. It's like I want to go for it. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to put on that muscle. And I met a guy that I worked with. Started training with him. Took to bodybuilding just like a fish takes to water. And, just went out and started learning. I've always believed in mentors, always believed in going right to the top in anything I'm going to do. And I just went to some guys that were the best in the industry that started mentoring me. Long story short, over a 5-year period, I gained well over 50 pounds of muscle. And at one point, I was up at almost 100 pounds of muscle, from 118 pounds to 218 pounds, now national bodybuilding competitor. So I achieved my goal. I did that impossible, that thing that people said, the skinny kid couldn't do, didn't have the genetics, blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on and on. Henry, that taught me one thing. If you have the mindset and you're willing to do the freaking work, you can do whatever you want to do. And, once I learned this, I mean, I was just like, man, I've got to take this to other people. I reached a point in my bodybuilding career that was like, yeah, the things I needed to do to continue to be competitive and move on at the national level, I was not willing to do those things to my health. I'll just kind of leave it at that point. And I thought, hey, you know what? This is where I go help people. I teach people to do what I did, and teach people that they can do whatever they put their mind to if they're willing to do the work. What I learned at that point, Henry, is people have a lack of belief in themselves. So what I had to specialize in doing is believing in people until they got to that point to develop that mindset of their own. So that's kind of what pushed me into the industry. Fast forward the story. After some years in the industry, I ended up in Arizona working with LA Fitness to start opening their clubs over here. I was going to be here temporary. I was going to head back to LA. The most beautiful woman that I ever laid eyes on in my entire life walked out of an aerobics class one night, walked past my desk. I literally, this is a true story. I picked up the phone. I called my roommate in LA. I said, bro, I'm not coming back. And that is now the mother of my children, my wife of almost 20 years, my business partner, my mentor, and the person that drives me. So
I love it so much. I love it.
So we entered the industry together. At the time she was going to nursing school. She was really getting into fitness, and we just cleaved together and started working together. We created the concept of our company in 1998, which is Beyond Bodies. And the concept of that company was based on the fact, we were training people, we were getting them fit, we were all about results. We've always been never about the hype, bro, never about the hype. We've been about pure results, get people the results. But what we learned is we were working with people on their relationships. We were working with people on spiritual issues. We were working with people on nutrition. We were working with them on fitness. We were helping people deal with life. And as we brought all those life components together, we saw people truly becoming fit. But just the fitness portion of it was just a small portion. It was kind of like, one of the legs on a stool. So you break off relationships, you break off spirituality, you break off nutrition, you break off training. That stool is not going to stand up. So at that point, that's when we realized, we need to come up with a name for our company that represents that. And that's when we came up with Beyond Bodies, because like what we do is beyond the body. Yeah, you see the results on the body, but you have to go far beyond that to produce what you have. Henry, I can tell you, I have clients that have trained with me since 1998 when we developed that name that are still clients, still right now, still today. I trained some of them this morning. So there's a reason that people stay.
I'm going to just stop you real quick for a second and explain how intriguing this is, right? Because I just recently realized this with my business and my program. So I have a branding on demand program, which you're in. And it was funny. I thought that everybody was coming to me for the design part of my expertise, right? But it wasn't just the design. It was my digital marketing background. It was my branding background. It was helping these folks guide them in the right direction so they don't waste time. And so it's intriguing that you found that in your niche. So you knew you were really good at helping people get fit and train, but they came to you and they said, listen, we need help up here.
Right.
And you said, we got you. And you went in. And that's power. That is so powerful, because I see so many entrepreneurs that they get in this this horse blinder. It's like they don't listen to what their audience wants, and they continue to give the wrong service or product, and they want to know why they're not selling. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out because that's super powerful. So not only do you help them with their physical fitness, but you help them with their mental fitness too.
Absolutely. Henry, everything is all about mindset, man. It doesn't matter what other components you have working in your favor. It doesn't matter your level of talent. It doesn't matter if you were born into all the money in the world. If you don't have the right mindset, you are not going anywhere, man. So we are all about developing that mindset. And one of the biggest things that I learned, and if I share this, all the entrepreneurs out there, I'll tell you, I've been an entrepreneur my entire adult life, except for one little period that I ended up, working for, a real estate developer after the crash, which taught me I really need to be an entrepreneur because, a day in his business, I knew his business much better than him. That's the nature of the entrepreneur. But what I really want to tell people is the key is the second that you learn that it's not about you and it's about them, that's when your business is going to change. When it hit me, it's like, hey, this what I do right now. It's like, yeah, hey, you know what? I believe, I have absolute belief that I'm the greatest at what I do. But you know what? It doesn't matter because it's not about me. It's about them. So I have to be the greatest at pulling out your greatest. If I can't pull out your greatness, I'm nothing.
So I love it. So let me ask you a question, a couple things before we get into what happened. So you're rocking and rolling. You found your passion. You're helping these clients. They're just crushing it, right? You're crushing it. You're happy. You're in your lane. You're doing your thing. And so before we hit the crazy turn, the crazy 180, I want to ask you a question because you made a good point. You know that you got the right mindset, you got the right belief, but it wasn't about you, it was about them. How does one become empathetic? And how did you put yourself in their shoes for you to be like, listen, it ain't me, it's all about them?
Okay, so here's the deal right here. I don't know if I can say this on your show or not.
Absolutely, do it.
I got my ass severely handed to me. Okay, that's when I became empathetic, because I had this 25-year period, of being like this fitness entrepreneur, crushing it, man. I owned a Gold's Gym in California in the 80s, man. I was like, I was rocking, like driving the nice cars, owning the Gold's Gym. I mean, doing all the stuff. So it was me. I would bring clients into my gym, even after, meeting Heather, it was still me, because I'm the greatest. We're going to get this done. This is how we do it. And it was working with people. But Henry, after going through the real estate crash, which I talk about this very carefully because this is not my story. This is my old story. So I'm very careful not to get wrapped up in this. So in my old story, I after a very successful career in fitness, I went into real estate. Again, bro, I went to the mentors. I went to the top. I mean, we were within a couple of years, we were rocking it. I'm talking, black card, flying around in private jets, working on multi-million dollar deals, hanging out with top people in the industry. Boom, crash, bro. Literally within like 72 hours, that life changed and started, going downhill very drastically. Let me tell you what happened. I lost my identity. I lost my wife. I lost my home. I lost my cars. I lost my motorcycle. I lost my boat. I lost literally everything. Okay, so I had to fight to get my identity back. And the way that happened, I was sitting in my backyard one day, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and my hair was going gray because that's what happens with older guys. I was smoking a cigar, drinking a beer. I had a bottle of Patron sitting next to me. My belly was kind of hanging over my belt a little bit. Bro, I looked at myself at that moment. That moment, my life changed. I said, "What happened to Daryl Daniels, man?" It's almost hard. It's almost hard for me to talk about this without getting emotional. It's like, what happened to Daryl Daniels? I realized that losing all my shit didn't matter. Losing my identity mattered.
That's powerful.
Okay. So at that moment, I said, I'm getting it back. I'm getting it back. I got my gym equipment out of storage. I cleaned out a little man cave in my garage. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every day, man. I was in there pounding. I told my wife, I said, I'm coming up on my 55th birthday. Find me a photographer because I'm going to be in the greatest shape I've ever been in, and I'm going to document it. And I'll tell you what, man, it was like that climb back to my identity that put me back where I am right now, because then I realized, first of all, it didn't matter how much money I was making in real estate. The money, none of that mattered. What mattered is I was not doing what fueled me, what keeps me alive, and what God put me on this planet to do. And I got back to that with that new level of empathy, because now I can talk to people. I'm like, bro, yeah, I've had my butt kicked. Yeah. I know what it's like. You know what? I got myself out of shape. I know what it's like. Oh, we got to go back. We got to grind to get it back. I know what it's like. I know what it's like. So here is how we have to do it. And I'll tell you what, man, I go up my business with a whole different level. And that's how Heather and I have created this whole new concept, this whole new business that we're launching. It's all based on 30 years of the good stuff, 30 years of being the fitness rock star, and a few years of getting our butts handed to us in corporate America, in life, and everywhere else, and saying, people, here is how we get it back. Follow me, man, because I know how to do it. I've done it. I've been there. I've been on both sides of the game. I understand where you're at. But you know what? I'm not gonna let you slack. I'm not gonna give you the easy way out. I'm not gonna tell you a bunch of lies that, it's easy and you only have to do this. No, I'm gonna tell you, you gotta freaking work, man. You gotta work. You know how I know you gotta work? Because I'm still getting up working. I'm still up 3:30 in the morning doing my stuff before I start my day to work with you, because it's important. So it's got to be important to you, man. And I'll tell you what, you get your identity back, you know where you're supposed to be at in life, then you start touching people's lives. And there is nothing greater than to have a person walk up to you and say, you changed my life. You changed my wife's life. You changed my family's life. That's power.
That is a beautiful story, and I thank you for going there, and I thank you for framing it the way you frame it, because if you want to get ahead in life, if you want to take your life to the next level, you got to take massive action, you got to take massive change. And I don't want to sound like Tony Robbins, but that's what I learned from him. Like you have to you have to swing a wild 180, because if you're pussyfooting around, you're never just gonna do it. And so that was one of the things that I did when I was going through, and my backstory is nowhere near yours as far as depth and how much I lost. I mean, my story sounds like a walk in Disneyland compared to your story. I
gave you the summary version, bro. I gave you the summary.
That's the summary version. Yeah, that's the summary version. So I get it. And so my next question for you is, what was the biggest takeaway from that? Like, what was the big lesson learned when you went through that?
Henry, the big lesson learned is that every single person, I believe, is put on this earth for a specific reason. We have some gift, man. We have something that is given to us to share with other people. It's never about us. And when we discover ourselves, we discover our identity, and we discover our gift, that's when we believe to step into happiness, man. And it's all about happiness. When you look at being here in the United States and our Declaration of Independence, man, it's about being happy. We're here for the pursuit of happiness. But people are pursuing it all the wrong ways. Everybody's always looking at the area like, I need this much money. I need this. I need that. Okay, what they're doing is they're saying that they need those things to provide them the happiness. So you can get all the external things in the world, but until you discover your true identity and you start working within that identity, you're never really going to have that true happiness. So I always tell people, learn who you are.
That's it. So that's where I kind of want to segue in. So how does one find their true happiness? Like, how does one find that?
You know it when you're doing it.
Such a simple answer.
You know what? It's so simple, it's stupid.
You
don't need a big gigantic study course, man. You inherently know what it is. You inherently know what it is.
Oh my God. If I just quit what I'm doing today and just go off of that, I mean, that is what a nugget that is. You know it when you're doing it. God, what do we talk about next? I mean, what else is there?
Everybody just go get to work.
that just opened up Pandora's box. I mean, for me to give me that, like, honestly, I'm like, I learned so much from you, and I know I'm teaching you about branding.
Yeah, I'm learning from you, man. You're like opening up the doors for us, man.
Right, so it's crazy, but I want to say that, like, I'm learning so much from you guys as well, and watching your lives and just being around your presence and seeing that energy. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. Like, you know, my mentor said way back, the energy that you get is the energy that you give. And when there was no surprise when all this shit was happening to me, when I wasn't happy with my clients, when I wasn't happy with my business, I wasn't happy with my life and all that stuff. This one person said, he stopped me in my tracks and he said, look at what you're putting out. This doesn't surprise me that you're experiencing all of this.
Right.
And I said, man, that was a wake up call for me. And it was the energy that I switched 180 that I started to put out. And then people like you started to come into my life. People like, I can name a dozen that started. And I said, holy crap, that is the key. It is what you put out is what you get.
And I believe so much in the law of attraction in that manner. I mean, it is so true. I mean, so true. You know, and if you're putting out, I talk to people all the time about positivity. And it's like, do I have like no negative in my life? Man, I can like sit here and tell you some stuff that like you don't want to hear, you know, but it's how you react to it. I can't control some of the stuff that's coming at me, but I can control my reaction to it. And it's like, boom, I got to stay in my lane. And this is something that you said to us that I can't get out of my head. And I think about it all the time. And I was like, am I in my lane? Am I in my lane? And now my wife's like, you know, you got my wife all messed up, bro. My wife's putting a check on me. My wife's like, you in your lane? I'm like, oh, babe. I was like, got in the passing lane for a second, you know?
No good.
But no, that's true. It's like, you know, what you're putting out there is always going to come back to you. And I know, man, I you know, and believe me, I believe in money. I believe in abundance, you know, because I have this belief, but well, because I've had plenty of money and I've had like no money, you know, in a very short period of time, they both happened. Yeah. And I could help a lot more people when I had money. So if you don't have any money, if you're worried about helping yourself, you're not free to help anyone else, you know? So I believe in abundance from the aspect that you need it to be able to help people. You know, one of the most painful things in the world to me is, you know, a family member, a friend, or somebody that you see needs help, but you can't help them because you can't keep your lights on, you know? So again, you know, that's what I believe abundance is for. And, you know, we get that through that law of attraction. Man, when we're in our lane, when we're doing the right things, when we're attracting people into our lives, to check this out, bro, we attract the people that need what we have. See, we attracted you into our life because you have something that we need to be able to continue to grow. And, you know, like I told you in our first meeting, you know, it's like my problem is not my business. My problem is not my ability. My problem is obscurity. There ain't enough of y'all to know about me yet. So that's where you come in, you know. So, you know, and you at the same time, we have something to offer you, you know. So when we're in our lane, you know, we're working where we're supposed to be in life. That law of attraction is going to be working. And man, we're blessing each other. Yeah, we're passing money back and forth because, you know, money it's an instrument. You know, it's a tool that we need. But we're blessing each other on a much deeper, much richer level. I also believe that no one comes into your life by accident. Everyone that comes into your life is there for some kind of divine reason. But we're usually so jacked up in our own head that we miss it. So I really try and stay open to that now. Funny thing happens, man, when you get almost 60 and you get your ass kicked really bad a few times. you start looking at things a lot differently. You know, you start instead of looking at things for, you know, what was that initial, you know, impact, you start looking, what was the deeper meaning with that?
Yeah.
You know, what was this put in my life for me to learn? How is this going to make me a better person? How can I make other people better people by this lesson?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Listen, I could talk to you for hours. Hours.
Obviously, I can talk for hours, man.
Listen, I can too. That's why my wife wants to like kill me sometimes. But yeah, the two of us, forget about it. But I want to share a couple things with you just before we leave, and just to give you a quick heads up, and for the people that are watching this, in my eyes, what makes Daryl Daniels a powerhouse in not only your niche but as a human being is that your level of humility and your level of vulnerability is at such a high level, and you are not afraid to let that out and let people to connect with it, right? And I resonate with this because I used to keep all that stuff in, and then when I realized that once I put myself out there and I gave somebody something to connect with, is when, like you said, I started to attract all the right people into my life. So your level of humility and vulnerability is at such a high level. You are impacting and inspiring so many people. And I'm sure you hear that 1,000 times a day, but I'm telling it to you from me that it's truly inspiring to have you as a client, to have you in my life now, and to be part of your growth in your business. Because that's where I truly get the reward, is watching you guys crush it on your lives and watching you guys get excited when we finish up a funnel, right? And I see your wife in the thing doing things because she's so excited that it's done. Like, that when I hang up the towel at the end of the day, I go, this is what it's all about. So anyway, I want to thank you for spending the 30-40 minutes with us today and just sharing your journey, sharing all of this, because I know people, it takes a lot for people to share literally what you just shared in the past 40 minutes. And believe me when I tell you, you inspired hundreds of people. So thank you. So let me ask you this before we leave. If there's one thing that you can be remembered for in your life, what would it be, and how would you tell that to how would you tell that to somebody else?
That one thing would be, it's two things. I can't make it one thing. The one thing would be, he believed in me. He had an incredible amount of love in his heart.
Boom. I love it. So there you have it, guys. I told you this guy was a passionate dude. So again, Daryl Daniels from Beyond Bodies, thank you again for being part of the Passionpreneur video podcast and sharing your journey, your ups, your downs, just sharing you, bro, and sharing your passion. And that's why I said offline, I said, you are perfect for this show, because the amount of passion you have for what you do is breathtaking. It really is. So, Daryl, thank you again for being part of the show. Guys, watching this, I hope you got something, one little piece from what Daryl told you today that will help you find your why and find your passion and find what it is that you need to do in your life and in your business to take it to the next level. So we'll see you on the next episode, guys. Take care.
Thank you.